Welcome to Secrets of Stand-Up Comedy. I'm Richard Francis Williams. I'm going to tell you everything I know about stand-up comedy so you can be a better comic, not as some PhD of jokeology or your comedy chiropractor or anything like that. I'm just a fellow comic. I've been doing it for about 30 years. I've had some experience. I've had a lot of success, even though you've never heard of me. And I'm just passing on what I've learned, like the older comics did for me when I started out. It's like being at the back of a bar after your set. So let's talk about this phenomenon. Kind of a provocative title, Kill Tony Must Die. Now, I put die in quotation marks because it's metaphorical. I'm not taking a shot at any, not trying to ridicule Tony Hinchcliffe or Brian Redband or anybody who works on the shows or affiliated with it. So don't harass them. My issue is with the format of the show primarily. In case there's some psychopath watching this, this is not an endorsement of anything bad to do to them. Just don't even leave them a negative comment. I'm trying to be responsible. I've only made these videos for like 7 months. I don't know what the requirements are, but it's a play on words, and it's not literal, it's figurative. I think you get it. All right. So I had a comic that subscribed to this channel a long time ago, and I worked with him one-on-one. I do these one-on-one mentoring sessions and punch-ups of people's acts. I was doing it for free early on, and he was one of the first people I talked to. He sent me a message. He's like, bro, I need to talk to you. To follow my dream, I upped and moved, quit my job, and went out to Austin, Texas, so I can be on the new Carson, Kill Tony. And reading that part alone had me shaking with rage. But he said, I went on there. I don't think it went well. Between that and some other things that happened, I left. I feel like I should quit comedy. I moved back home. I don't know what to do now. Can we set up another session? I'm like, bro, you got to calm down. Like, it's fine. It's not that big of a thing. But it made me realize there's hundreds of comics moving to Austin, Texas to get on the new Tonight Show with Johnny Carson. It's not even close to the Tonight Show with Johnny Carson. And I'm going to break down why it's not. You should not be doing this show if you're just starting out. It's not good for you. I don't think you're psychologically prepared for what will happen if it goes bad or if it goes good. You're not prepared for that either. Okay? So the only thing, the idea that Kill Tony is being compared to the Tonight Show with Johnny Carson is ludicrous to me. The only thing that is similar is that a lot of people watch both of them. Okay? That is true. You can get a lot of exposure from going on Kill Tony. Not as much as the Tonight Show, but nowadays, yes, you definitely get exposure. Here's the difference with the Tonight Show. The comics that went on there were selected. They were established comics with established acts. They had material. They had been doing it in the clubs. This was the next step for them in their career. So that once they did this, they were ready for it. They were ready for being introduced to the American public as a whole. Because once they went on there and did well, their money would go way up. They would get better bookings. They would start touring the whole country if they were only regional, if they were only in Boston or San Francisco or New York. It was a real opportunity for comics, and they were set up to win. The booking agent would work with them in the week leading up to their spot. They would go out to the Comedy Store and the Improv and work with them on their acts so that they would meet the censors requirements and the broadcast standards. You can't say certain things on TV. But also, like, hey, maybe Change it to this word. Do you think this might be better? Or you could do this as a callback. These were experienced handlers that were working with these comics because they wanted them to do their best. That was the whole idea. They want them to entertain by being super funny. And then if you got called over to the couch or to sit in the chair and talk with Johnny, it was to further promote you. It meant that they really liked you. And the people at home knew, wow, this is really somebody that we should go out and see when they come to our town. The comics didn't go up there for 1 minute and then go over and have their balls busted by Ed McMahon. I mean, it's so crazy. Kill Tony, they're taking open micers, they're giving them 1 minute to perform, and then they ridicule them and ask them a bunch of personal questions, trying to get new material for them to explore. No, it's set up to make fun of and humiliate open micers. It's obvious. I understand they can't give open micers 3 to 5 minutes because who wants to hear somebody, if they're not talented enough, do 3 to 5 minutes? I get that, but they don't have open micers on it. These people aren't ready for the opportunity. So this idea that you're going to go on Kill Tony and become famous and it's going to be like The Tonight Show, let's break it down. How many comics have done Kill Tony that have made it, that have become big successes that you can think of right now? 5? Maybe 10? And I'm talking like working comics. It's totally different than The Tonight Show. If you went on The Tonight Show, everybody in America who watched that was talking about you the next day because there were fewer opportunities. But let's just say at a baseline, you start headlining shows. How many comics have, in the 10 and a half years that Kill Tony has been doing these episodes, how many have achieved that? Let's say 20, and I'm being generous. Let's say 20 comics have done that. How many episodes have there been? 658 episodes. And there's what, 7 comics per episode that go up? That's 4,606 comics. Now, I know there's repeat comics, and they may not have 7 one night or a bunch of nights. Maybe they only have 5. I don't know. I don't watch the show. I can't stomach it for multiple reasons. So let's cut it in half, and then even more than that. Let's say there's 2,000 comics that have gone on Kill Tony. Because I hear all these comics telling me, no, this is to elevate comics. This is to help them. This is to really be their big break. All right, let's say there's 2,000. This is conservatively 2,000 comics that have been on there, and you're telling me in 10 and a half years, maybe 20 have had success? That's 0.01%. Are you getting that maybe it's not to showcase comics in the best possible light? Maybe it's just an opportunity for Tony and his friends and other now famous comics to kind of goof on people that are just starting out. And I get why the guest comics, I know a lot of them. We worked together. We were friends at one point. We may not be friends after this video, but I still like them. But I know they get excited to be guest judges on that show. But if you actually sat them down and said, what is this thing you're doing? Oh, I'm going to be a guest judge on the show, and so many people watch it. It's going to be fantastic. I'm going to get major bumps on Instagram and TikTok and X. I'm going to have a lot more people noticing me, and they're going to see how funny I am. And then I go, okay, what are you going to be doing on the show? Oh, I'm going to be making fun of people that are trying to do what I'm now successfully doing finally. People just starting out like I was. I'm going to go basically to my younger self when I was trying to live my dream, and I'm going to shit on those people. Like, what? Why would you do that? Why? I know. It's because of fame. Everybody's chasing it. But if you're a comic, I really want you to hear me. Don't do this show. It's not good for you. So this guy I was dealing with, he's been doing it for 2 years. And for most of the comics on there, some of them don't even have that much experience. I talked to a bunch of comics in Austin. Let's say you have 2 years experience. What do you got, 10 minutes of material? Maybe 15? Solid material? Let's say you kill. Let's say your wildest dreams come true. You kill, you get a standing ovation, Tony calls you over, Joe Rogan high fives you. They're like, you're going to be a regular, you're coming back. And now all these clubs want to book you to headline with your 15 minutes. What are you going to do? You're going to take the gigs. And you're going to have packed shows because millions of people watch this thing. And you're going to bomb. And you're never going to do those clubs again. Because, yeah, you're making them money in the moment, but they can't have a headliner come in and just eat it and then book them again. You're not ready for this opportunity. Even if it goes better than 99.99% of how it always goes for comics who've been on there. So that's the best case scenario. Let's look at the worst case scenario. You've performed in front of maybe 10 people at an open mic. Let's say 20. Let's say 50 people in your 2 years of doing stand-up. Now you go out there. There's 500 people at the mothership. The show is sold out. It's like the Roman gladiators. They're all hyped up into a frenzy. You don't know what that's like. You don't know what performing for that type of crowd is going to be like. You've never done anything close to it. You're used to going up 31st at an open mic in Austin, Texas, with a bunch of other comics. Thankfully, you only have a minute because a crowd that size, or if you do one of the arena shows that they're doing Madison Square Garden, what is that, 15,000 people or something? I don't know the numbers, but the laughter rolls in when there's that many people. It throws your timing off. You're going to be there. It's the big lights. You just found out that out of the 200 to 300 people who stood in an alley to put your name on a piece of paper, you got picked. Okay, you're up now. You go out there. Not only do you have these 500 people, you have Tony and Red Band waiting on the side that you can see out of the corner of your eye, plus 2 comics you probably look up to that are famous, that are ready to goof on you if you don't do well, plus a band. You're getting ready to perform, and then it dawns on you, there's going to be 1.6 million views of this on YouTube. There's going to be how many downloads on Spotify? You have no idea what that pressure's like. You can't fathom it. This kid who I helped, he's like, he was like shook. The crazy thing is he did well. He thought that he did poorly because he got a little joke book, whatever the hell that means. I guess those are the prizes on this show that makes millions of dollars. You get a little notebook if you don't do that well. You get a big joke book or something if you do well. That's the other thing I heard, that the regulars, that Hans Kim, and I don't know any of these people, that have, performed and made it. They're after my time. He was on some podcast on YouTube where they're doing a financial audit, and the host asked him how much money he gets paid on Kill Tony, and he either couldn't or wouldn't talk about how much money that was. And people are saying, yeah, because they don't get paid. What? They're selling out arenas. They're making millions of dollars on this, and you're not paying the people who are performing? That's why we have AFTRA and SAG, because people will do it for free, because this is their dream. That's what's so bothersome about this, which makes me crazy. These are comics doing this to other comics. It's insane that this is going on, and nobody is calling it out. Thankfully, Bill Burr did in one of the early episodes. He kind of caught on to what the situation was. And this is before it was like super famous. And thank God someone did. But yeah, I don't know what to say. I mean, the reality is nothing I say is going to make it stop. It makes too much money. It's too successful. Too many people like it. So it's just going to continue on. But you, dear viewer, a comic looking for some guidance, you don't have to do it. And for you comics that are name comics looking to expand your brand even higher, you don't have to be a guest judge. You don't have to shit on the people that are trying to get where you are right now. We're supposed to help each other. We're not supposed to be tearing each other down. Now, I know, though, if this video for some reason goes viral, I know there's going to be people in the comments saying, well, you're just doing it for the clicks. Yes, you're absolutely right. I want as many people as possible to see this. That's why I make YouTube videos. That's why I'm making this one in particular, because I want my opinion on this to be heard. Because I don't want any more stories of comics who go on Kill Tony and get ripped apart and then quit. Who just get so demoralized because there's a video out there that 2 million people have seen of them not doing their best in their first fucking year of trying something. That's why, yeah. That's why I want people, so share it. Share this video. And for the other, I'm going to address this too, because I can already feel this one in the comments. Well, who are you? You're just a hater. You're just some random nobody who never made it. That may very well be. But I have credibility. I'll tell you some of my credits. Just because you never heard of me doesn't mean I haven't done anything. In fact, I can speak specifically on this type of show because I worked on a show kind of like this. It was a comedy competition show, Last Comic Standing. I was the audience warm-up comic for the first 5 seasons. Tom Segura took over my spot after I left. So yeah, that was an actual show where people were supported and shown in their best light. They were competing not for a notebook. They were competing for a $250,000 development deal with NBC. I think it was NBC. They were getting paid for their performances. They were selected because they were good. It wasn't built up to make fun of them, to ridicule them. And all of those comics, they had acts so that once the show was over, they could go out and tour and use the newfound fame they had from that show to do bigger venues, to make more money. They could do it individually or collectively with the other people in the group. So yeah, I have some experience in this world. I'm mutual friends, or I've worked with comics that Tony's worked with and is friends with. And I'm not going to name all those people and all that stuff. But I've been a comic for 30 years. I was the very first comic on the very first episode of Chelsea Lately. I did the new faces for the HBO Aspen Comedy Festival. I was nominated for 2 sports Emmys, writing and performing on the Best Damn Sports Show, period, where one of the main things I tried to do was get other comics on that show in sketches so that it could build their reels. I've always been about helping other comics. I was on the Howard Stern Show. I was on Comedy Central. I was doing Premium Blend. I've worked for MTV, writing for Date My Mom and Next and Exposed. I sold a movie with Tim Allen to Disney. So yeah, I'm qualified to speak on this. And this video isn't going to help my career in any way, shape, or form. If anything, some comics may get pissed at me because they're involved with that show. Or maybe I'll get banned at the mothership, which I don't perform there, but I hope that doesn't happen. I hope that people come to their senses, that not everything is about money, that not everything's about fame. I doubt it. I doubt that's going to happen. But again, you, the viewer, the comics who tune into this channel, or if you're tuning in for the first time, you don't have to participate in it. Because whether you're successful on there or not successful, it's not good for you. It's not good for your career. It puts comedy in a bad light. We shouldn't devour our young. Do it the old-fashioned way. Write every day. Perform as often as you can. Use the new technology of putting out TikToks and Reels and building your own fan base. Go back to handing out flyers on the street if you have to. There's a lot of alternative ways than to get 1 minute on a show that's been proven to not really help very many comics at all. That's it for this. I hope you share it everywhere. And if you want the one-on-one personal coaching, mentoring, where I go through your set, I usually charge $100. It's $50 for the month of May. Just email me, richwilliamscomedy@gmail.com. It's right here. And that's it. Bye.